Hey everyone, Andrew back again and welcome to another video, and today I'm here with a different type of video, and this is something that don't think I've really seen too many people, if anyone really, here on the VC talk about, and that is band exposure. And what I mean by that is I'm here to talk about a kind of underrated, unknown band that I don't think many of you have probably heard of before, and basically give them a bit of exposure. So hopefully you enjoy this video. It's definitely a series that I plan to do in the future. There's a few other bands I have in mind to do similar videos on in the future. So hopefully this video gets some positive feedback and it's something you guys enjoy. So today we're here to talk about Desecrator and I guess more specifically their debut album, To the Gallows. Now this isn't going to be a traditional full-on album review. Basically the style of this video is just going to be me talking a little bit about the band and their history, my opinions on the album, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So Desecrator is an Australian modern thrash band from Melbourne, and these guys have been around for quite a few years now, about 6 years to be exact, and kind of crazy that they've only just released their debut album this year, 2017, but these guys have been working their arse off. They've been touring non-stop internationally, and they've actually been support acts for some pretty big name bands, Sepultura, Warbringer, Toxic Holocaust, Tankard, and Havoc, which I'm sure a lot of you modern thrash fans are pretty familiar with that band. So yeah, they've been touring and supporting acts for some pretty big name bands, and certainly been putting a lot of work out there, and yeah, they finally released a debut album. Before this though, they've released a live album and an EP, but this is their first official studio album release. So it came out earlier this year in New Zealand and Australia. I'm not really too sure if it's available in the US yet. I know it's getting a release soon over in Europe. They're actually going to be touring over in Europe with another Australian band, Airborne, I believe. So that's pretty cool. But I've been listening to this album for a while. I listened to it earlier this year, and thought it was about damn time that I actually picked up a physical copy of it, and just to support these guys I decided to treat myself and pick up the vinyl copy along with the CD copy. And I have listened to the vinyl, and I've got to say it sounds absolutely fantastic. It's actually the first thrash album that I've heard on vinyl, and yeah, pretty damn impressive. So that is a quick rundown of the band. Now I'm going to let you guys know what I thought of To the Gallows. So as I said before, To the Gallows is their debut album. Came out earlier this year over here in New Zealand, and it's getting released over in Europe in the next month or so. And yeah, great album, especially for a band that's been touring for ages, and to have their first debut album be this good, very, very impressed. It's a 9-track affair, and basically the best way to really sum up these guys quickly is they sound pretty much like the 80s Bay Area Thrash bands, is really the quickest and best way to describe them. They sound very, very similar. The production really, really impressed me with this one. And I, like a few other people out there, when it comes to modern metal, I find that a lot of bands are overly produced, and I'm not necessarily a big fan of that. Sometimes it's alright, but this band is definitely different in that aspect. It's got a very, very raw sound, which works very, very well, and I appreciate it. I thought the production was phenomenal in this. It's not overly produced. It's got that really raw, traditional 80s thrash sound, which is great. There's not really a bad track on this album, and the track lengths are pretty good. They're about 4, 5 to 6 minutes. Pretty standard, I guess, for a thrash album, but yeah, the song lengths are really, really good. None of them really outstay their welcome, and there's not really a bad track on this album. It's very, very solid from start to finish. Obviously I prefer some songs over others. A few standouts for me are definitely Red Steel Nation, Serpent's Return, Hellhound, and Thrash is a Verb, which was a lot of fun. The vocals are really, really good, great lyrics, very, very catchy as well. The drumming is phenomenal, and the guitar riffs, oh my god, the guitar riffs and solos are amazing in pretty much every song. I would quickly like to mention there is one song about halfway through the album called As I Die, which is a very, very slow song, and it kind of took me by surprise, but it is a kind of welcome change of pace, I guess, and it kind of breaks up the album a little bit because it is a pretty fast and heavy and pretty thrashy album overall. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this album, and I definitely cannot wait to see what these guys bring out next in terms of a studio album, because if this album's anything to go by, I think these guys have got a very, very promising career in terms of studio album releases ahead of them. So yeah, this album comes highly recommended. Now before I go, I would quickly like to show you guys a bit of a closer look of the contents of the vinyl and just a little bit of a close-up of the artwork. Alrighty, so here is a closer look of the vinyl and the CD, and the artwork I think is just absolutely amazing. Big fan of it. I'm also a massive fan of the Desecrator logo. The record is nothing too special, it's just on black vinyl, and there is a photo of the 4 band members. And there is the back of the album with the track listing and the lyric sheet. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is obviously the first time that I've done one of these, so hopefully I wasn't too rambly and I explained everything clearly enough. I feel I did. I think I pretty much covered everything that I really wanted to say about these guys and this album. Now, one quick thing though, I was very tempted to play some of the music in the background of this video, however with copyright issues and because it's a fairly new modern album, I wasn't really too sure, but there is an actual video here on YouTube uploaded of the full album, so I'll be leaving a link to that in the description box if you guys are interested in checking it out, which I highly recommend doing so because the album is absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, as I said, I'm a big fan of these guys, and they come highly recommended, especially if you are a big fan of 80s Bay Area Thrash. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.